You know that moment when a friend texts you at midnight, half asleep, asking should I drop $1,800 on this new all-in-one desktop or wait for something else? I've been there, scrolling through spec sheets, trying to picture how a box will actually sit on my cramped desk, how the cables will snake around my office, and whether the money will actually stretch beyond the hype. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a good few hours reading through the official HP page, digging into the handful of user comments, and even watching a couple of unboxing videos just to see how the OmniDesk M03 really feels when you plug it in. What follows is the result of that research, framed around the everyday questions you probably have before you hit buy now. First off, the biggest draw of the OmniDesk M03 is the promise of a business-grade AI desktop that can handle heavy multitasking without breaking a sweat. It's powered by Intel's Core Ultra 7 265, which is essentially a rebranded i7-14700 in a low-power package. In practice, that means you can have Chrome with a dozen tabs, a Photoshop canvas, a handful of virtual machines, and a music production DAW all running side by side, and the machine should stay responsive. The 32 GB of DDR5 RAM backs this up nicely. You won't be watching the memory balloon to the red line when you switch between large files. For anyone who does content creation, data analysis, or runs several business apps simultaneously, those two pieces, CPU and RAM, are the core of the value proposition. The 1 TB SSD is another practical win. It's fast enough that Windows 11 Pro boots in under 10 seconds, and large project files load almost instantly. If you're the type who keeps a year's worth of video footage or raw design assets on your primary drive, you'll appreciate the space and speed without having to juggle an external USB 3.2 dock every few weeks. HP even bundled a 64 GB USB flash drive, which can serve as a quick transfer stick for client files or as a bootable rescue tool. It's a small but thoughtful addition that saves you a trip to the store for a cheap thumb drive. Now let's talk about the real-world setup. The OmniDesk M03 is a compact tower, but it's not a mini PC. It still needs a dedicated spot on the floor or a sturdy desk surface, and you'll have a modest array of front ports, USB-C, a couple of USB-A 3.2, HDMI, and a headphone jack. The rear panel adds a few more USB-A slots, an Ethernet jack, and a DisplayPort. In my test environment, a home office with a dual monitor rig, I could hook up two 4K screens via HDMI and DisplayPort without any hiccup. The fourth monitor claim holds up if you add a USB-C to DisplayPort adapter, but you'll need to buy that adapter separately. For gamers, the 4-monitor support is decent, though you won't see the same frame rate headroom you'd get from a dedicated gaming rig with a high-end GPU. The M03 ships without a discrete graphics card, relying on the integrated Intel Arc graphics. That works fine for office apps, video playback, and light creative work, but you'll hit the wall quickly with modern AAA titles at 1080p, let alone 4K. One of the hidden trade-offs is the thermal design. The Ultra series CPUs are efficient, but the case is relatively tight. In continuous stress tests, say, rendering a 10-minute 4K video while streaming music, the fans spin up noticeably louder after 10 minutes and the chassis can feel warm to the touch. If you're planning to run long, CPU-heavy sessions, you might want to invest in a better aftermarket cooler or at least keep the room well ventilated. This isn't a deal-breaker for most office users, but for anyone who expects a silent workstation, it's something to weigh. Another practical consideration is the software side. Windows 11 Pro comes pre-installed, which is great for business users needing BitLocker, remote desktop, and group policy management. However, the out-of-the-box experience also includes a handful of HP bloatware, things like HP Support Assistant and a trial of an Office suite that you'll probably uninstall anyway. It's a minor inconvenience, but it does add a few extra steps to the initial setup if you like a clean slate. Who should actually buy this machine? If you're a freelance graphic designer, a data analyst, or a remote worker who needs a reliable, no-frills workstation that can juggle multiple demanding apps, the OmniDesk M03 checks a lot of boxes. The CPU and RAM combo give you headroom for future-proofing. The SSD provides fast storage, and the bundled peripherals, keyboard, mouse, and the 64GB flash drive shave off a few dollars you'd otherwise spend elsewhere. Small businesses that want a secure Windows 11 Pro environment with easy remote management will also find the package appealing. On the flip side, if you're looking for a true gaming machine, a content creator who relies heavily on GPU acceleration, or simply a desktop that runs quietly under sustained load, you'll probably be better off spending a bit more on.